Cordero Patterson, questionable game time decision. Patriots visiting the Falcons. Patriots road favorites. 4 straight wins for the Patriots. They've looked good. Mac Jones looks good. The Falcons got their ass kicked bad last week. And the Patriots kicked some ass pretty good last week. On paper, this should be a blowout. But this is Thursday Night Football. This is a showdown slate for the NFL. I'm not comfortable being confident at all in any of these outcomes at this point, right? I mean, we have to just plan on some, we have to have a couple lineups with the Falcons blowout, right?
Yeah, I mean, at this point, dude, I think we've had more crazy upsets, like extreme upsets this year than we have on any other showdown season. I don't know. It's been crazy, man. And like what happened to the Niners with the Niners-Rams game, that doesn't happen in the NFL.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen very often where a team that's supposed to be that good gets destroyed. That's a division rivalry. I get it, but I don't know, man.
We talked about the fact that game could be close, but I didn't envision it being anything like that. And I didn't envision the fact that Stafford would be my weak link. You know? This is crazy.
Bro, he looks like he's Carson Wentz in some of these balls. It's 2 weeks in a row where he's just had 2 pick sixes, first of all, and then just 2 dumb interceptions.
It's crazy, man. This game should be interesting. I don't know how to play it, man. I think we should I honestly think just spreading out, just playing as safe as possible in this particular game might be the way to go.
Yeah, I mean, isn't it always fun trying to choose running backs from a Bill Belichick team?
Oh, dude. We'll get into that. We got some injury news here. But let's take a look at our little first look here. So, New England, and this line obviously will change as we get closer. We're recording this Wednesday night late. So, keep an eye on this. You might see some movement here, especially when we get the Cordero Patterson news. But I just don't think it really makes too big of a difference when it comes to this game, to be honest. Look at the ownership there, man. There's about 80 points difference there. Interesting. It's a 47.5 total. The Patriots are 6.5 point favorites on the road, minus 281 money line. We've seen crazier lines in this. We've seen crazier underdogs keep it close or straight up win. How are you playing this, man? Like, what are your thoughts? Like, how do we from a fantasy side of things, like, keep this straight, like, without going too heavy on the Patriots and just maybe getting our ass kicked?
Yeah, I actually think this is going to be an interesting one. I don't know if this is a game that you really want to go 5-1 or 4-2. And that's usually my preferred build style is a 4-2. But Atlanta's going to have to try to come back at some point in this game, most likely. At the very least, they're going to have to score some points. And I think with the win probability and the ownership leaning so heavily towards New England, people are going to be hesitant to play two or three Falcons. And honestly, you might have to, because Kyle Pitts could end up with 12 receptions on 24 yards, right? You could have one of these random running backs with a touchdown here or there, and I think that might be enough to be able to jam in the high-priced players that you want from New England, and still be able to kind of balance out your exposure a little bit. I just don't – I think this leads very much to a 4-2, 5-1, like, field build day, and I think crazy enough, I'll be going with a little bit more 3-3 or even 4-2 Atlanta.
Yeah. There's leverage there, and there always is the possibility of garbage time, or maybe this game is close in the fourth quarter. It's possible. I would not rule it out at this point. So let's talk a little bit about injuries here. So obviously Calvin Ridley's still out for personal reasons. Damian Harris is not on the injury report anymore, so he will be playing. And I think we're just speculating at this point. But based on what I read a quote from Bill Belichick, and he was obviously pretty vague. But it seems like Damian Harris is just going to be plugged back into that starting role. Now, what does starting running back mean for the Patriots? Probably not a whole lot. You could still see split carries with multiple guys here. The good news is, with Damian Harris, he is at a similar price to Ramondre Stevenson. So you could almost kind of just build a similar lineup and just swap these guys out. I do like Damian Harris more in this game, but who's to say that Stevenson doesn't come out and get more carries? It's just very difficult to know. And we'll get a little bit more into that when we get into the running backs and the breakdown. So Cordero Patterson has a high ankle sprain. He was, earlier today, from what I could see on Roto-Grinders, he was doubtful. And a couple days ago, you could see over here on the screen here, Tom Pelissero was basically saying it doesn't sound very optimistic for him playing on Thursday night. It's a high ankle sprain, and it could be a couple weeks. That was 2 days ago. Now today, he's upgraded from doubtful to questionable, and he's a game time decision. What does that mean? Are they playing games with us? I don't know. It just
gives me Lakers right before lock kind of flashbacks. You know, like I get so skeptical when I see players that go from doubtful to anything, unless it's something that was an expected doubtful, like Austin Eckler or whatever. But I thought he went questionable, the doubtful, the questionable, because I don't think it was just Roto-Grinders, man. I can't find it, but I was on Twitter earlier today, and there was not positive news.
No, there wasn't. And so somehow something changed today. But, you have this fantasy doctor guy here. He has some good information usually. I mean, this is all speculation, obviously, at this point. But if Patterson does play, and people seem to think right now that he might, I kind of am leaning the other way. That maybe they don't want to play him. Even if he does play, like, how good is he going to be with a high ankle sprain?
Right. I mean, his ability is that he's explosive. That's what he brings to the team, right? So you start losing the ability to make that additional cut, to stop like you used to. I mean, that impacts your ability to help the team. And he's not out there because he can read a defense and audible into the right pass play. He's out there because he has playmaking speed and ability. So I'm still concerned about that ankle. But if he plays, I'm still gonna have some.
I remember.
I can't see you not at least having a lineup with captain.
Dude, I was gonna say I remember the days, even back to Minnesota, but specifically Chicago when he's like the third or fourth string running back and he's barely touching the ball, and I'm putting him. He's a $800 player, like 3% owned. I'm putting him at captain in 80% of my lineups because, dude, he's a good player. Like, why has he not been utilized like this? Is it because the Falcons are a bad team? And, like some of these in the NBA, these dudes ball out on these terrible teams because there's really I don't know what it is, but he's a good-ass player. And if he plays, I might have a little bit too much of him just because how could I not? How can I not? I've been pimping this guy out for like 2 years now.
It's your chance, man. It's your chance.
Of course, he's over 10K this week, of course. But hey, it is what it is. If you have him on your best ball teams, or if you drafted him at the end of whatever round in your season long, you're probably feeling pretty good. So Jonnu Smith is also questionable. I don't know that really matters too much. It's so interesting that Jonnu Smith was a baller in Tennessee. Comes to the Patriots and just doesn't really make an impact. And even with him playing, Hunter Henry has clearly been the number one guy. So Jonnu Smith is relatively cheap, but he's questionable. He might be one of these lower value guys that I might consider if he does play. But my point here is, if he does suit up, I don't think it really hurts Hunter Henry as much as you would think. I think Hunter Henry is still a pretty good play. And Hayden Hurst has actually officially been ruled out. So you basically have Kyle Pitts. They're going to triple team this dude all day. Like, I honestly don't know if I like Kyle Pitts in this matchup too much. Who else are they going to throw the ball to? You know what I mean? Like, if you're Belichick, just triple team this guy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's going to be interesting. Kyle Pitts has the athletic ability. It's just, I think the bigger issue with the Falcons right now is I'm not sure that Matt Ryan's who he used to be. That dude used to be the most accurate quarterback in the NFL, and like he's throwing some dumbass interceptions now.
Here's the interesting thing. Here's the thing that's a little confusing to me. Is they were up by 18 points, or they were up by multiple touchdowns against the Saints in that game. They look good, and look, they're 4-5. They're not, this team isn't the Jets. Like, they're okay, but they're so volatile. Like, it's impossible to predict which team is going to show up, and that's what scares me in a matchup like this. All right, let's get into this breakdown here. Break it down. We're going position by position. Hey guys, help us out. We're trying to hit 500 subscribers. 70% of our views are from non-subscribers. So just hit that button. We really appreciate it. Turn the notification bell on and throw us a like. We appreciate it. All right, so Matt Ryan is 10.8K. Mac Jones, 10.6K. Interestingly enough, I think Matt Ryan has a higher ceiling. Mac Jones is a more consistent player on a better team. But I'm actually surprised to see Mac Jones priced lower than Matt Ryan, especially after what happened last week. Why do you think that is?
Well, I have Matt Ryan in my season long, so I have a lot of gripes against this piece of shit right now. I think he got me like -2 points last week. It was something crazy. The dude has not been good. He just has not been good this year. I mean, he's had some decent games occasionally where he goes out and balls out, but this is not consistent quarterback play. Like, come on, two fantasy points. Like, that's not even like a good measure of somebody's talent. I understand that, but like, god damn, man, 9 completions on 21 attempts.
That was an asshole.
I get, yeah, to Dallas, bro. It's not even like you guys were out there playing the Patriots or a team with a moderately good defense. You were playing Dallas. I get you can get one-dimensional really quickly, but I don't see how this matchup against New England favors him anymore.
Yeah, I agree. And look at their wins here, dude. So their only wins come against the Giants, the Jets, Miami, and New Orleans without a quarterback.
Bro, I got to be honest with you. Like, people are still high on the Saints. Like, is there a reason to be high on the Saints? Like, I think the Saints might be one of the more overrated teams in the NFL.
For sure.
Right? Your starting quarterback is Trevor Siemian.
Yeah.
So, like,
and one of your most high-paid dudes is sitting on the bench, not playing quarterback. That doesn't make any sense to me.
Right. And so, like, look, I don't expect much different. And plus, it's a division rivalry game, right? They play pretty frequently, the Saints and
exactly.
Falcons, so they know each other a little bit better. But the rest of his output really isn't something to write home about. I mean, his best game against a decent team looks like it was Washington, right?
Yeah.
Or at least a decent team defense.
Yeah, Washington.
Other than that, man, like, I just can't get behind him. I think he has the ability to go out there and put 30, 35 points up on the board. We've seen that. But you're not doing it with Calvin Ridley out, right? If Cordell Patterson's not playing, you're probably not getting the same output. You're relying on Mike Davis, Wayne Gallman, and Olamide Zaccheaus. Like, come on, man.
It's ridiculous.
I think I spent way too much time ranting about Matt Ryan right now, but I just don't think he's the guy tonight. Spoiler alert. But
I actually slightly disagree with you here. And the only reason why is because we've seen some crazy shit, and I've gotten in over my head with, like, okay, this quarterback is not going to do well against it. On paper, this is a terrible matchup, and there's no reason to play this guy. And I go way under the field, Jimmy Garoppolo, even Lamar Jackson against the Dolphins, like things like that. And for whatever reason, it just doesn't work out. So I usually would, with a guy like Matt Ryan in this matchup, I'd go like 15%. Or 20%. I go way under the field. I think I'm just going to go a little bit higher this week. I agree with you. His floor is, below the ocean. It's terrible, which scares me. And I know we're spending a little bit more time on the quarterbacks here, but we have to, because there's not a lot of guys to pay up for in this game, especially if Cordero Patterson's out. Who the hell are you going to pay for? Right. So it's almost like, okay, if you double up, you can go high price captain if you wanted to, and double up at quarterback just to get that floor and maybe even, get those extra points that you would want. It's safer, and you could still afford guys. So that's why I'm bringing up like Matt Ryan. I don't mind putting him and Mac Jones in the flex, and even putting Matt Ryan in captain, because you see a guy, if he can come out and you score you 31 fantasy points, and he'll be like the 4th or 5th highest owned captain, which is strange to me. I get it, but he's still a quarterback, so you would think he'd at least be like the 3rd highest owned captain. Anyways. Would you play him a captain at all?
Not a captain, but look, if his ownership comes under like 25%, 30%, then I'll probably be with the field. Like, I think that's about where he should be owned, is about 30%. But to your point, right, the Cordell Patterson news is really going to make a big difference, because like, if he doesn't play, then who are we paying for? And, if you think Matt Ryan's going to go get 14, 15 fantasy points, then you might have to just play him at it by default for the raw points.
Yeah, exactly. Raw points is king in most cases. I mean, you could you could hit 5-6x. Well, I'm thinking NBA here, but you can really hit your value and have that flame emoji on your score. And if you don't have the raw points, it might not matter. So Mac Jones is 10.6K. And if you look at his stats this year, he really hasn't had one game over 25 fantasy points. I mean, he only has 2 games over 20. So to me, it's like, yeah, Mac Jones looks good. He's looking good as a rookie quarterback. He's on the Patriots. They've won 4 straight. But does that translate into fantasy points? I don't know, man. Like, I think Mac Jones is going to be very popular because recency bias. I think you could almost fade Mac Jones and go heavy on Matt Ryan and still be okay. That's just me, man. Am I crazy?
No, I don't think you are. I honestly think this is easily a 1 quarterback slate. If you wanted to get crazy and not play quarterbacks, I think this is another slate that you can do something like that on. The only thing that I do want to point out, though, that Mac Jones that does warrant some ownership on is, like, this Atlanta defense is bad, man.
Yeah.
So one of these guys,
terrible, worse than the league pass rush.
Right. One of these guys is going to have the opportunity to do something, and so like it's probably going to be Damian Harris, but I do think that there is going to be some ability for Mac Jones to go out there, maybe throw for 200 yards and 2 touchdowns. And what's probably going to hit the under, what was the total 50 on this one?
46.5.
Oh, okay. 46.5. That seems a lot more reasonable.
Yeah.
Then, I definitely think that you're going to have to get it right. And one of these quarterbacks will probably be in the optimal at that point. But no, man, I don't hate fading Mac Jones. I think you're good playing one of these guys. I don't think you need to play both. But this could be kind of a coming out game for Mac Jones too.
Yeah, could be.
This Atlanta defense is porous.
Yeah, I mean, look, speaking of the Atlanta defense, they're 3rd worst in fantasy points allowed to quarterbacks and running backs this season. So Mac Jones, on paper, he could have a breakout game. He hasn't had that extremely good game this year. I mean, he had that 25-point game, but it's just maybe not the offense where he needs to throw the ball that much, or he's kind of a game manager to a certain extent. As long as he doesn't turn the ball over, and he gets the ball to Jacoby Myers and he gets the ball to his running backs, he might not need to be that guy that scores 30 fantasy points.
Yeah, when we say breakout game too, like we're talking a Bill Belichick breakout game, not a Bruce Arians breakout, right? He's not going to go throw for 405 touchdowns.
Yeah.
So he might have a rushing touchdown and a couple 4th down sneaks. So
all right, let's talk about New England running backs. You want to take this?
Yeah, I mean, I think this situation is a little bit more clear than it's been in previous seasons, right? I know that everybody's high on Ramondre, on Mr. Stevenson, but let's call him Ramrod. That seems cool. Yeah, so like I know everybody's high on Ramrod here, but he's priced like Damian Harris isn't going to play. So really, the only reason I'm going to be getting to him is if Damian Harris comes in pretty high owned. Or if for whatever reason he just doesn't look good in warm-ups, then I might kind of jump out over to Team Ramrod a little bit.
Yeah.
But with Damian Harris being in, it's pretty clear cut for me, man. I think Damian Harris is the guy. Again, this Atlanta defense is garbage. This is prime opportunity for him. I mean, when he played the Jets, he had 25 fantasy points.
Yeah.
That's 14 carries, right? I'm not going to, like, even when he played Carolina, he had 15 attempts. It was only 30 yards, but good defense. Chargers, 23 attempts. Like, dude's getting the volume when he's healthy and able to play. So,
yeah, absolutely.
I think he's the guy that you want to prioritize. Now, I do think that this running back field, or this backfield, gives a bit of unique opportunity. Say you wanted to go your route on the quarterback side and fade Mac Jones. I think you might be fine throwing in Harris and Stevenson into that one lineup.
Yes, right? I love it.
Jam it in and handcuff, dude, because there's a very good chance that it could be a 50-50 split. It's a Thursday night game.
Yeah.
Bill Belichick is smart with his guys, and they're in playoff contention, man. Like, they have the chance to make the playoffs with this weird-ass team they have there. Yeah. So expect Bill Belichick to do some weird stuff. Now, just before we get too far lost here, Brandon Bolden, 4,800. I also don't hate him. I don't know that I'm going to need to pay 4,800 for him, but that might be the kind of value that you're looking for on the slate. I don't know that, especially if Cordero Patterson's out, nobody's really priced appropriately for that kind of salary guy to be missing on the slate.
I'd rather play Bolden than Mike Davis on the other side, and he's only, what, $1,000 more or less than that?
Yeah, I don't know if I agree with you there, but I get the sentiment for sure. I mean, that Brandon Bolden can get involved. We've seen way too many of these nights where Bill Belichick just rotates 4 guys and like all of them have touchdowns or whatever, right? So you're not doing anything crazy here. This is essentially the Foster Moreau situation when it comes to the Raiders, right? You play the random tight end or fullback because you know that there's going to be an opportunity for them somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, the way it is with this team, J.J. Taylor could get 17 carries. Who knows? I wouldn't be surprised. It's weird. But I'm pretty confident that Damian Harris is going to at least get enough carries that you'll be confident in playing him at 8,800. Ramondre Stevens is 8,600. Brandon Bolden's 48. And by the way, Brandon Bolden is questionable, but this is the Patriots. Everybody's questionable. But just keep an eye on that. And J.J. Taylor is 1,000. So the only problem, you know, if Bolden for some reason doesn't play, I love J.J. Taylor then at 1,000. He's the best value on the slate if Bolden doesn't play. All right. So, and like I said earlier, if you like Stevenson more, you know, just rotate these guys out. They're almost the same salary. They're only $200 difference, which is nice, honestly, because then you can just kind of easily plug them in. All right. Let's go to Atlanta. This is a kind of a shit show here. So talk to me, man. We had some good information about these backups potentially. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I guess the most important piece of news here is whether or not Cordero Patterson plays. I don't even know what position you play him at, and it doesn't matter for this slate in general. But if Cordero Patterson plays, you should probably play it.
Yeah.
Beyond that, like I think people are getting a little high on Wayne Gallman, a little unnecessarily. I see the 15 attempts from last week. I see the 2 targets. But there's a reason why he's a 3rd stringer, and the dude got cut by the Giants, who obviously never have a healthy running back field.
Yeah.
So, you know, I just don't know that he's the guy. Mike Davis, they did pay a lot of money to be their number 1 guy. So I do really think that if Patterson's not playing, Mike Davis is going to get a bulk of the work here. And that price, 8,400 again, that's egregious for this.
Gallman. Yeah, he shouldn't be more than 15% owned because I think the field is smart enough to say that is not a good price for him.
I mean, look, I get Mike Davis hasn't done anything, but they should still be inverted, right? Like Wayne Gallman should be 5,800 and Mike Davis should be 8,400. I get it, but he's the starting running back.
Yeah, absolutely. Somebody at DraftKings is dyslexic or something. That's probably what it is. Cordero Patterson's 10.2K. I would just watch, be on Twitter before the game, like, and really kind of see how he's moving around and find some of these local beat writers and shit too.
Yeah, it's on Prime Video, and you should have it on your app too. But at least on Prime, you should be able to watch some of the warm-ups. Like, I mean, it's going to be important. So if he's not out there, if he doesn't look shifty, I don't know if you can play it, man.
The high ankle sprain is nothing to mess with, man. It really isn't. All right. Russell Gage, we're going to wide receivers. Russell Gage is 6,600. He's the most expensive wide receiver on this team. He's the number 1 guy. In majority of offenses, he would be the number 3 guy. I'm not hating on Russell Gage. He's fine, but he should not be a number 1 wide receiver. Tajay Sharp is 3,600. Olamide Zaccheaus had 2 touchdowns against the Saints. That was by far his best game of the year. He's 5,400. He's a little up and down. I don't know how much I love him, but 5,400, you know, why not? Christian Blake, 200. Frank Darby, 400. I'm not messing with those guys at all, probably. So Gage, Sharp, and Zaccheaus. I mean, what do we do with these guys? Like, do you try to just rotate one of these guys out? Like, what are the chances that 2 guys go off in this game?
Yeah, I mean, the top 2 guys got to be Gage and Zaccheaus. Tajay Sharp, dude, whatever, man. This dude, he was like a 4-string receiver on the Titans last year with A.J. Brown, Corey Davis, and then I don't know what, Nick Akina. Like, you know what I mean? So, like, I still don't think that he's necessarily going to get too much volume. 3,600 though, I still might like him a little bit better than a kicker. But I think the guys from Atlanta that I'd be looking at mostly would be Gage and Zaccheaus in that order. Gage does have the ability to go out there and get a decent amount of targets. Granted, his best performances did come last year when he was splitting the field with Calvin Ridley and Julio Jones. He's usually filling in for one of them when they're injured. But he does have some upside. I mean, he's got 8 targets, 6 targets, 7 targets in the games that he has actual fantasy output or catches, I guess. And then he has 2 games where it doesn't look like he was able to reel anything in. But again, I think that has more to do with the Atlanta offensive line, the lack of consistent offensive play, which is why Cordell Patterson is a wide receiver / running back.
Yeah. And kick returner.
Yeah. Like he's being Percy Harvin, or he's being Cordell Patterson again, right? Like that's what he's doing. And you really don't need that if all your offense is firing on all cylinders. So I definitely think that's impacting some of the performance here. But if he's out, right, that volume still has to go somewhere. I think Russell Gage is probably the next best guy after Kyle Pitts. But Kyle Pitts is young, and he's going to be playing against a defense that's going to be preparing for him all week.
Yeah, the issue here is they don't have that bona fide number one like they would with Calvin Ridley. When Calvin Ridley's on the field, you gotta find a way to lock him down. They don't really have to lock anybody down except for Pitts, and Pitts is a tight end. They can double triple team him in different ways without having to sacrifice a lot of their secondary. All right, so I think it's safe to say these wide receivers are not sexy, but I think you got to try to fit one of them in to your lineups. I think you just have to.
Yeah, I mean we're gonna have the salary too, so you can't leave. Somebody's going to make some catches. Like one of these guys will probably end up in the optimal.
And unless this is a blowout and, you've got Josh Rosen coming in and throwing passes, which at that point you're probably screwed anyways. But
yeah, for sure.
Unless this is, if this is a 2 touchdown game, you're going to get those garbage time points. You really will. So Kyle Pitts is 9,600.
Bro, we got to go to New England wide receivers.
Oh, shit. I'm sorry. You're right. I got excited.
It's all right. It's going to be a quick conversation.
I got excited with the tight ends. Let's see. Jacoby Myers, 8K. Finally had a touchdown last week. This guy he's your short, reliable 10-yard, 15-yard receiver. Get you 9 targets a game, 10 targets a game. He's reliable. I'm playing him in cash for sure. He's going to get you there on the floor. His ceiling maybe isn't necessarily as high. Nelson Aguilar, 5K. Kendrick Bourne, 7,600. These are the home run hitter guys. These are the air yard guys. These are guys I would consider playing a captain a little bit here. So thoughts on Aguilar and Bourne, and then we gotta mess with N'Keal Harry a little bit because he's actually been blocking well. Maybe he's getting on the coach's good side. Maybe he gets a couple receptions. Maybe he'll get a goal line reception or something. He's $600. So talk to me about these guys.
Yeah, man. So I'm with you on Jacoby Myers. I think he's more of a cash play, if anything. I honestly don't know if I'm going to be targeting him all that much in general. His targets have seemed to gone down as of late. So just not too high on him. But he's still their number one. He's still going to have opportunities to get into the end zone. So he is in play at 8K. I think my favorite guy from the group overall is just Kendrick Bourne. Never thought I'd say that about an ex-Niner, but the dude's explosive. He's tearing it up, man. And he's getting involved in the running game. He gets involved in the passing game. I mean, didn't he have a touchdown pass to Nelson Aguilar? He has to get to the Jets, but I mean, that's how you build confidence. You play the Jets, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So, look, we've seen him game break. We watched him play us like twice a season for like 4 seasons, man. So like we understand what he can do. We've watched game film on him more than probably a lot of people just because of the dual playing factor.
Yeah.
But I like the guy. I think he's in for a good night against, again, a very porous defense. This is a night where there's probably going to be somebody on the Patriots who just somehow gets to an obscene point total because there's going to be broken plays. There's going to be some big play here or there. You're going to have some dude with 2 receptions, 94 yards, and a touchdown or 2.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that's the kind of game that this is setting up for. And that's what bad football leads to, is garbage points. So I think Kendrick Bourne has the game-breaking speed to do that. And then Nelson Aguilar, I think, is the next guy who'd be able to do that. We've said this multiple times, but as soon as the dude left the Wentz, like, he turns to be an actual wide receiver. I think
with
Wentz
the Raiders,
I don't understand like why he can catch the ball now that Wentz isn't throwing it to him. But I'm happy for him. And apparently Kendrick Bourne can hit him too. So I don't mind him. Honestly, man, your point about N'Keal Harry, like I don't I don't mind it, but like I don't, if especially if Cordell Patterson's out, like I feel highly uncomfortable leaving like $4,000 on the table.
Exactly. I mean, look, N'Keal Harry is a pure punt. Who knows if he even sees more than 20% of the snaps, but he's a punt at 600. If you look at all these guys' stats, even Mac Jones, they're just not impressive. You look at every single one of these guys, they're not impressive. But the interesting thing here is Mac Jones spreads the ball out a lot. So it might not be so concentrated on one guy. You might want to get two of these guys in the flex. You might not need Mac Jones with two of the wide receivers in this case. Especially even with, like, let's say you put Kendrick Bourne at captain and you throw Nelson Aguilar or Jacoby Myers in the flex. That's totally fine. You don't need to put Jones in there necessarily in every lineup. You don't need a rule for that. All right, let's go to tight ends now. Hunter Henry, 7K. Jonnu Smith, 2,400. I love Hunter Henry in this matchup. I mean, he had He had 2 touchdowns last week, I think, right? Yeah, he had 2 touchdowns last week. And look at this. Look at this here. Let me move it on the screen here. He had a stretch of 4 weeks in a row where he had a touchdown. Then he had 1 week where he didn't score, and then he had another 2 straight weeks with a touchdown. Mac Jones, rookie quarterbacks like their tight ends, man. And in Showdown Slate, we know that these tight ends, for whatever reason, are stepping up. And to me, they're just way more likely to catch a touchdown pass than like a Kendrick Bourne. There's the odds are just so much higher because that field shrinks when you're in the red zone, that you get a little bit more opportunity from these guys. So Hunter Henry, Jonnu Smith, if he plays, are you interested in Jonnu Smith? I mean, I think Hunter Henry is almost a near lock for me because I think I feel the most comfortable with him.
Yeah, 7K, man. I can't hate him. I love Hunter Henry at that price. I think he's going to be fine at captain. And again, I just don't think that we're going to need to worry about salary as much on this slate. So I'm really trying to find those guys that I think have decent upside. And I think Hunter Henry is the guy. To your point, we might be able to just like cut pieces of the show together and just have it on a loop, right? What do we say? Tight ends or rookie quarterbacks love their tight ends. And,
yeah.
I mean, you just said that, right? That's exactly true. We say that almost every show when we're dealing with young quarterbacks.
Yeah.
And this is a young tight end who is also really good at the game. So, Bill Belichick's going to get his tight ends involved. Dude was running Aaron Hernandez and Rob Gronkowski together for a while there until we all know what happened. But, I mean, he doesn't mind getting his tight ends involved in the game, which kind of brings me to Jonnu Smith. Again, the salary thing being if Cordell Patterson plays and we need to find some value, I don't mind playing Jonnu Smith if he's active.
We know what he's capable of. We've seen it.
Yeah, we've seen him run up the field. Like we know what he can do. He's a damn tight end, or he's a damn wide receiver playing tight end. He's Anquan Bolden.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
I think that he's definitely in play at 2,400 if Cordell Patterson's in, just because you might need some savings. But other than that, I'm cool with Hunter Henry.
All right, let's go to Atlanta. I already sort of started this. Kyle Pitts is 9,600. Hayden Hurst is out. I don't necessarily think that really opens anything up for Lee Smith or Parker Hess. But I don't know. Look, Kyle Pitts is the best. He's the best pass catcher. If you don't want to call Cordell Patterson a pass catcher, he's the best pass catcher on this team. He's the number one target. He's a wide receiver playing tight end. Now the question here is, can Bill Belichick just completely shut him down? I think he can. But he's 9,600. We're not worried about salary. You're gonna have to play Kyle Pitts quite a bit, right?
Yeah, dude. I'm gonna use the field to kind of gauge how much exposure I'm gonna have. He comes under like 40%. I think that's too low. He should probably be around 45 to 50% owned. He's going to be the number one guy. He should be the number one guy. It is a tough matchup, but there's nobody else getting touches behind him, right? I mean, Lee Smith isn't going to go out there and dominate. Hayden Hurst is actually a pretty good tight end, right? Yeah. That's why he came over.
Yeah.
I think he signed before the draft.
Yeah, he did.
So I mean, he wouldn't have necessarily been prepared with that.
Yeah.
And Kyle Pitts is a bit of a raw player, so I think that limited some of his playing time. But we see what he can do. He's going to get targets. His lowest was 3 targets in week 3?
Yeah.
Other than that, he's had 6, 7 or more.
Yeah.
So, again, it's going to be a tough matchup. It's going to be difficult, but maybe the New England defense is a little tired and they slip on one play and they end up giving up a 60-yard touchdown. That's all he needs to pay off 9,600 on a 46-point total.
Yeah, exactly. All right, let's move over to kickers here. We won't spend too much time. Nick Folk, 4,400. Younghoe Koo, 4K. Any interest in kickers this week? Any more so than any other week?
No.
Okay. Defense. Patriots 5,600. I think they're actually going to be lower owned than they should be. They might come in under 20% or even 15%. And if that's the case, I'm gonna try to have some run stopping lineups with Patriots defense, with one of the running backs from the Patriots, something like that. 5,600 is a little bit expensive, but like I'm not too worried about the middle range salary. And look, the Falcons defense is terrible. But this is a Thursday night game. They're 3,400. I'll put one or two of them in somewhere. We've learned our lesson here by saying no, I'm not going to play that defense, and then they come out and they're in the optimal, right?
If the Niners defense can go out and make Matt Stafford look foolish, I think a professional Falcons defense, even being shitty, can make a rookie quarterback look foolish. And Mac Jones has been on a tear, right? Like. They've been on a tear, so the Falcons could come out here and do something against the Patriots.
Yeah, absolutely. Don't count them out.
Yeah,
I'm not saying put a bunch of them in your lineups, but they're still in play. I think pretty much everybody's in play, and that actually moves us to our fade of the night here. Ellie, I gotta do my there we go. Okay, so Ellie, talk to me about Matty Ice, reasons behind that fade, and what by fade, what do you mean? Half the field?
I don't know if I'll go half, but I'll be under the field. I'm not going to be prioritizing him in any lineups. It is a little bit different if Cordero Patterson is out. I think I might have to play him for raw points.
Yeah.
But like, I'm just not going to be prioritizing this dude at all.
For me, I don't think this is this is almost a waste for me. I mean, Gallman, I don't think anybody's going to play him. It's a cop-out. I'll admit that. But besides Gallman, I'm pretty much going to play everybody. I'm not going to limit anybody. All right. Favorite captain choice here, crown their ass.
Now, if you want to crown them, then crown their ass.
Ellie, you're talking Harrison/Stevenson. This was before we got news that Harris was officially in. So you're leaning more towards Harris here at captain?
Yeah, absolutely. And honestly, look, man, I don't hate Stevenson either. Like maybe one or two lineups with him. Again, this could be a great handcuff situation, so I don't mind the slide either. Throw one in at captain, throw the other in at flex, and grab the Patriots defense. We don't know what's going to happen, and Bill Belichick could just try and dominate time of possession. I think they're both great plays.
Yeah, I agree. I love it. I love that. I'm gonna match you. And for Hunter Henry, I mean, he scored a touchdown in quite a few games in a row. Missed one there in the middle. But the chances of him scoring a touchdown, I think, are pretty high, are pretty good. I actually might put a couple bucks on him for first touchdown scorer as well. But Hunter Henry, we love tight ends. Why not? The chances of him catch a touchdown, I love it. Let's move over to lineup build here. All right, let's do this. So let's see what it spits out to us the night before. Mac Jones at captain, Younghoe Koo, Aguilar, Mike Davis, Jacoby Myers, and Matt Ryan. I don't know. I guess. Not a lineup.
Yeah, it's a really weird lineup.
Not a lineup I'll play. Earlier in the day, it was actually a 1-5. It was Mac Jones, or it was Stevenson at captain, I think, and then the rest were Falcons. Like what? Jesus. All right. So who do you want to go with first?
Throw in your guy. Let's see what we can build here.
All right, Hunter Henry. Pretty good price on him. Do you want to play Matt Ryan or do you want to go Mac Jones here?
Let's go Mac Jones. Let's build one with Cordero Patterson playing first.
Okay, perfect.
And then let's throw in Cordero.
Okay.
And then, I guess, I don't know. You want to try and build with Matt Ryan still? Let's see what
I think we should.
Here.
I think we should.
With Hunter Henry at captain, we might be able to do that.
I think we're able to, yeah. The only problem here is we have 7,900 left, so we can't get one of these other high end guys for the Patriots necessarily.
Well, yeah, we can. So what about grabbing N'Keal Harry?
All right.
Well, that's still
not enough to get us.
Yeah.
All right, let's sit out Matt Ryan here just for now. because I do want to get in one of these running backs. So let's get Damian Harris in here. That gives us 9,900 for 2 spots. Where do we want to go now? Do we have to get like a Kendrick Bourne or a Jacoby Myers, or do we have to go to the other side and get one of these other wide receivers for Atlanta?
Yeah, see if you can throw in.
We can get Kyle Pitts.
Okay, let's.
It's not going to be pretty on the bottom end of it, but
oh Jesus, 300.
Gunnar Olszewski.
Call me crazy, Christian Blake.
Christian Blake, all right.
Hey man, look, he's a random guy that'll grab touchdowns when everybody's out. I played him a little bit last year when Calvin Ridley and Julio were both out on main slate. So
this is a sick lineup, actually. Like, I mean, I hate the fact that these $200 guys are not really that good, like we've seen in the past few slates, but I don't hate it. So if we wanted to like actually play a little bit better of a guy there, let's put in like what do you think, Russell Gage here?
Throw in Younghoe Koo, bro.
Okay.
I think this is actually a decent time to play him. And what does that live with?
5,900. That gets us Mike Davis. That gets us Patriots defense. Let's do that. Yeah, there we go. That's 2 Falcons. You got Patterson and Koo. This is a 21-3 lead at half, and then the game gets out of hand, and maybe it's a 12-point game or something. I don't know. Who do we want to go with now? You want to go with running back, or you want to try out Patterson?
Well, yeah, let's do one Patterson lineup, and then let's run.
Then we'll go Damian Harris.
Damian Harris.
Yeah. All right. So we're probably going to have to fade one of the quarterbacks here since he's so expensive. Who do you want to go with?
Matty Ice. Let's throw him in.
Let's put in Matty Ice.
Damian Harris.
Okay.
And then throw in Kendrick Bourne.
Kendrick Bourne. Where are you, bro? There he is, 7,600. That leaves us 7,500 for 2 spots.
Let's see. All right, since we're playing with Cordell Patterson what about Jonnu Smith? Let's see what that gives us left over.
Okay. I like it. 5,100. That gets us Aguilar, Bolden, and kickers. It's a little bit too much. Yeah. It's a little bit too many pass catchers there, in my opinion. Bolden is actually not a bad play. I don't love it, but you got Harris and Bolden with Bourne and Jonnu. It's not terrible. Let's try this. Can we do this? Let's actually try this. Let's go with Hunter Henry, and then punt. $500. We can't get N'Keal Harry, which would have been nice. But you can go.
Darby.
Darby. I mean, I don't recommend, if you're just skipping around and you see us playing Frank Darby, we don't like these guys. This is just kind of happens to be the build that we're coming up with. Lee Smith, I don't know, some of these backup tight ends or something like that, maybe in a couple lineups is fine. What if we went down from Bourne? Can we go down from Bourne to Aguilar?
Yeah.
At least it's 3,100. That's a little bit more reasonable to deal with here. Once again, Jonnu Smith, double tight end.
What about this? Go from Aguilar down to your boy. Put in N'Keal Harry.
Okay.
That should give us at least something. Maybe Russell Gage, right?
7,500. That gets almost Russell Gage.
Russell Gage.
Yeah.
That's a nice stack. Yeah, Cordero, Matty Ice, Russell Gage. Yeah.
Save that. All right, let's do a Damian Harris, and then we'll get out of here. All right, what do we want to do? Do we want to handcuff? Do we want to try this?
Yeah, let's handcuff. We're playing Cordero's out on this one, so let's throw in Matty.
Okay, Matty Ice. Cordero's out.
Let's throw in the Pats defense.
Pats defense, love it.
Yo, bro, throw in their kicker, too, and let's just see where we're at.
The Patriots kicker? Okay.
Yeah.
7,400.
Russell Gage.
Or Hunter Henry.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, I don't hate this, man. I really don't.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's do another one where let's not do the handcuff here. Let's see if we can get both quarterbacks in. Let's just try it. Matt Ryan, Mac Jones. I do like the one quarterback this week, but let's see if we can try this. Who do you want to go with? Do you want to go with we haven't built anything with Mike Davis yet. If we're saying Patterson's out, do we want to try to fit Mike Davis in?
Yeah, let's throw in Mike Davis, and then
9,600.
Throw in Alameda Zacchaeus.
Okay. 4,200 gets us the kickers. Young Ho.
Yeah, I don't hate that.
It's not bad. It's a 2-4. This is like garbage time / maybe the game is a little close. I don't hate it. These are the kind of builds that we're gonna have to do with a slate like this.
Swap Koo to N'Keal Harry.
Okay.
And then what does that give us? Can we come off with Zacchaeus and get to Gage? Easily.
Oh yeah, we can get anybody we want. We can actually get no, we can't get Kyle Pitts. We can get Jacoby
Come
Myers.
off Mike Davis. Put in Kyle Pitts.
Yeah, let's do that. I feel more comfortable. I don't really like Mike Davis in this matchup too much either. 5,200.
I mean, Jesus, you can get Nelson Aguilar. Brandon.
It's not bad actually. You got Mac Jones, Aguilar, and Harris at captain. Then Ryan, Pitts, and oh yeah, you also have Harry too.
Yeah, it's a punt.
It's a punt. But you guys get the idea here. There's a lot of options, and I really do think you could play Mac Jones at captain in tournaments because there's just so many different situations in this particular game. I'm not afraid to do that. I'm not afraid to put Matt Ryan at captain either in a few lineups. All right, Ellie. So who's your low-owned guy you think can score in this game?
Man, that's a rough one. I think Kendrick Bourne is going to be the guy. I think he's going to be a little bit lower owned than he probably should be. I think he'll be under 20%.
Well, I'm going to go with I'm going to stick with our theme here. I'm going to say N'Keal Harry gets a touchdown this week. Call me crazy. Don't at me on Twitter if you have 50% N'Keal Harry and he gets you 0. I warned you. All right, guys. Thanks a lot. Throw us a like on your way out. We will be back for Sunday Night Football. We'll take it easy.